So let's do it. The jibe. There are two types of jibes: heel-toe jibe, toe-heel jibe. Heel-toe, you go into the jibe riding heel side, you exit toe side. Toe-heel, you go into the jibe riding toe side, and you exit heel side. If you are regular footed, you are strongest riding into the jibes with your left foot forward. If you are goofy, it would be right foot forward. Okay, I am regular footed, so my strongest foot is my left foot. And when I jibe, I ride into my jibes with my left foot forward. So left foot forward, I'm going to go ahead and jibe. Riding toe side here, my left foot is forward, that's my strong foot. So I'm going to jibe. Left foot forward, strong side, riding on my heels, I'm going to jibe and exit toe side. So that is a heel-toe jibe. And here's a toe-heel jibe. Jibe breakdown. Step 1, go ahead and move your back foot to the back of the board. Reason you are going to want to do this is so that the majority of your weight is shifted to the back of the board, and you can generate a nice aggressive carve, really get on the rail of the board, as well as engage the fins. Now just be careful, because you want to make sure you redistribute your weight during the middle and the end of your jibe, and don't end up basically popping a wheelie. Step 2, lead with the kite. So to start the jibe, you move your kite from one side of the wind window across the wind window over to the other side. So if you're riding with your kite, let's say at 11 o'clock, you're going to bring it across the wind window to 1 o'clock, start your jibe. Or if you start with the kite at 1 o'clock, it'll go across the wind window to 11 o'clock before you start your jibe. When you're moving your kite across the wind window, you want to build resistance between you and the kite. So make sure you sheet in as well. You want to feel pull from the kite. If you performed step 2 correctly, the kite is basically going to pull you into the jibe. Alright, I'm going to do a heel to toe jibe. My kite is currently at 11 o'clock. I'm going to take it across the wind window over to 1 o'clock. I'm going to sheet in to generate a lot of power, and if done correctly, the kite's going to pull me right into my jibe. Going the other way, I've got my kite at 1 o'clock. I'm going to bring it across the wind window to 11 o'clock. I'm going to stay powered up to generate a lot of pull with the kite, and if done correctly, the kite's going to pull me right into my turn. Bringing it across the wind window, and with the kite at 11 o'clock, it's going to pull me right into my jibe. Alright, step 2, move the kite from one side of the wind window over to the other. Make sure there's a lot of pull from the kite, a lot of resistance between you and the kite. Step 3, let the kite basically send you into the turn. If you've done steps 2 and 3 correctly, when you reach the middle of your turn, which is the board basically going downwind, the board's going to take over. It's going to generate its own speed, and the lines on your kite are going to get loose, they're going to get slack. You're not going to feel any pull from the kite. If during the middle of your turn you do feel some pull from the kite, you could always let up on the bar a little bit. If you let up on the bar and you still feel pull, then you didn't do steps 2 and 3 correctly. Try it again. Alright, heel-toe jibe. I am going to start by taking my kite from 11 o'clock, moving it across the wind window to 1 o'clock. I'm going to stay sheeted in to generate a lot of pull from the kite. And if done correctly, the kite will, right here, pull me into the jibe. And then right about here, I'm hopefully generating a lot of speed with just the board so that my lines get nice and loose in my hands. And I'm just going to enjoy the ride. Toe side to heel side jibe. I'm going to take my kite, move it across the wind window from 1 o'clock to 11 o'clock. Generate a lot of pull, a lot of resistance between me and the kite so that it takes me into the turn. And once I'm in the turn, in the middle of the turn, hopefully my board takes over so that my lines get nice and loose during this part of the jibe. Okay, so you take your kite, you move it across the wind window from one end to the other. You keep a lot of resistance between you and the kite so that when it reaches the other side of the wind window, the kite will pull you into the jibe. In the middle of your jibe, you want the board to take over, generate its own speed so that your lines get nice and loose and slack. And then as you are completing your turn, you want to re-engage that resistance between you and the kite so you can ride out of the jibe and ride away in the new direction. If you don't complete your turn, your lines will remain slack and your board will stall. And then of course, once you're done with the jibe and you've re-engaged the kite, if you need a little extra power, you can always dive it. Okay, here we go again. Heel toe jibe. Kite's at 11 o'clock. I'm going to bring it across the wind window to 1 o'clock. I'm going to make sure that I'm nicely sheeted in. My lines are really tight. I'm feeling that kite pull me. With my kite on the other side of the wind window, I'm going to let it pull me into the turn. Once I'm into the turn and in the middle part of it, my board's going downwind, I'm going to let the board take over, generate its own speed, and at this point I should feel like I have no pull from the kite. I can sheet out if I need to generate more slack in my lines. As I complete my turn, I want to re-engage with the kite. I want to feel that resistance build again. So I do that by making sure I complete my turn and I can sheet in if I want to and ride out of the jibe. Going the other way, taking the kite, moving it from 1 o'clock across the window to 11 o'clock, building a lot of resistance, letting the kite pull me into the turn. And right here, my board takes over. Hopefully my lines will get nice and slack and the bar will feel very light in my hands. And as I complete my turn, I make it enough of an arc so that I rebuild that resistance between myself and the kite to sail away in a new direction. Okay, jibe with the foot switch. Some people will ride all day with their strong foot forward and never switch their feet, which is fine. That means you're always going into the jibe with your strong foot forward. Some people like to do a little foot switch before or after the jibe. I strongly recommend that you do that foot switch before or after the jibe. Definitely not during the jibe. How soon or after you do the foot switch is entirely up to you. The closer the switch is to the start or end of the jibe, the more challenging it becomes. If you are regular footed, matter said you prefer your left foot forward when you jibe. If your left foot is forward, jibe and then switch. If your right foot is forward, switch and then jibe. If you're goofy footed, you got it. It's the other way around. I am riding with my right foot forward. I'm going to do a jibe, so I'm going to do a foot switch to put my strong foot forward and then complete the jibe. I'm riding with my left foot forward, which is my strong foot, so I am going to jibe and then switch. Right foot forward, don't want that, so I'm going to switch and then jibe. Left foot forward, just the way I like it, therefore I'm going to jibe and then switch. Once again. Final notes. Okay, to sum it all up, once you're comfortable with your jibes and your switch jibes, practice riding into them with your weak foot forward. Guys, have a lot of fun with these. We'll see ya. Bye.